writers, and welcome back. It's Casey. Today we're talking about how to write a query letter. Okay, some of you may be asking yourself exactly, what is a query letter? Well, a query letter is just a cover letter, as something you would submit with a resume. You're submitting it for your manuscript. Within the body of your cover letter, it has to have certain elements to meet the standards. Make sure whoever you're submitting to that you're following their particular guidelines. Your query letter serves as one purpose. It's basically described in an article by janefriedman.com. It's basically supposed to seduce whoever reads your query letter. Whoever your agent is, that's who you're going to seduce. It has to be seductive in that it captures their attention and helps them to focus on what you have or what you're presenting. The query's purpose is supposed to draw the agent in so they could read what's attached. Generally, they ask for maybe the first 5 pages or the first chapter of your manuscript. So the query letter is basically a prelude of what's to come. So the reason why I decided to do this videos today is because I actually got my first rejection with a query letter. It took me years. Yes, I said that correct, years to send out my first query. I actually got a very good response back stating that although it didn't meet their satisfaction, it may meet someone else's, which gave me some type of hope. When you submit a query letter, it's so frustrating and nail-biting because you're wondering if they will actually like what you submit. However, you have to understand that whoever you submit to, not everyone will like your particular work. That's why it's very important to be specific with who you're sending it to know their specific genre of what they're asking for, and also know who the agent is that you're submitting to, what their likes are, what their dislikes are. So I found a helpful resource that I would like to share with you guys. It's the 2020 Guide to Literary Agents. It's the 29th edition. This is a very helpful resource in finding the specific agent that you need with their specific qualifications for submission. The agents listed within these pages tell you specifically what they're looking for and what you specifically need to query for. In order to submit a correct query letter, it needs 4 elements. So number 1, it needs to contain your book's genre, the category, word count, title, or subtitle. The second thing you need is the hook. This is basically the phrase that's going to draw the reader in this case being the agent. The hook is a description of your story and is the most critical query element. It's 100 to 200 words. That's sufficient for most works that are submitted. The third is the bio note. This is something about yourself. It's usually 50 to 100 words long. And lastly, your thank you and closing, which should be about a sentence long. Now let's move on to a controversial topic. Some people feel that you have to personalize your query in order for it to be submitted properly. This is not true. Personalization comes in handy if you personally have known or have seen the agent that you're submitting to. Generally, this would be in like a convention setting. That way you could discuss within your query letter that you personally met the person, or the agent in that matter, and what they're specifically looking for, what genres they're looking for, requiring submission. Now, people have made the mistake of going on and being too personal within the queries. However, that's not a good thing. And also, your query should not exceed 250 words. Some people have gone 400 to 500. Generally, these queries get passed over and not looked at because they're simply too wordy. They want something that they could likely skim through, and something has to catch their attention in order for them to keep reading. So remember, the query letter, as I said before, it's just like a cover letter for your resume. It should be a summation of everything, condensed, short, and sweet. So remember that personalization or customization of a query letter is an optional thing. It's not something that's necessary. Some agents may take offense to some of these queries being too personal, meaning that they feel weirded out that you don't really know them when you're doing your submissions. Remember that in its entirety, the query shouldn't run more than 1 page, single space, if printed, or somewhere between 200 to 400 words. As I said before, your query should not be longer than 250, although this article by Jane Friedman says otherwise. You need to make it short and sweet. Per the article in opening your query letter, you want to put your best foot forward or lead with your strongest selling point. Generally, your strongest selling point is the hook of your story. Before you do any query at all, you want to first research the agent that you're looking for. For example, you want to see how many books they've actually sold through their agency. You don't want to waste your time with a newcomer or somebody who doesn't know how to sell your books. The whole purpose of this is for someone to market for you and get your books sold. You have to remember that your query letter is a sales tool. It's something that has to attract the person who's reading it. And you have to sell yourself in that the agent reading your query letter can actually market and sell your manuscript. So your query letter should begin like this. Let me use myself for an example. Hello, my name is Casey Losner, and I'm submitting a query letter for my manuscript, The Eve of Darkness. It's 130,000 word count, and blah, blah, blah. Then you're going to go into the body of your query letter, which is introducing yourself as the author, and then talking about your book. In your query letter, you want to be descriptive, but not overly descriptive. You also want to state what genre you're writing for so they know specifically how it meets their requirements. So first, have your title, then your word count, then your genre, and then get into the body of your letter. So let's get back to the hook. What exactly is that? As I said, this is the thing that draws the agent in to read your manuscript. What does the hook entail? Okay, let's go over a list of elements that should be in your hook. For most queries, the hook does all of the work in convincing the agent or editor to request your manuscript. Here are a couple of formulas that can help you get started. Who is your main character, the protagonist? You're going to describe them somewhat. The next one, what conflict is she or he going through? The third, what are the choices she or he must make? The next thing you want to look at is, what does your character want? This is imperative. If you're not connecting with the agent, then obviously your manuscript cannot connect with the reading audience. What does he or she want? Why does he or she want it? Like, why do they want to do a specific thing? The third, what keeps him or her from getting it? So you're going to put all of this information in describing your manuscript within the body of your query letter. So since we're doing a query, here's an example as per janefriedman.com. They're saying that when you submit a query letter, this is how it should sound when the agent is reading it back. So let's think about this one. Robert Langdon is an American academic and an expert in the symbols of the ancient world. While on a business in Paris, he's summoned to the scene of a grisly murder in the Louvre, where he's the main suspect. He must race across Europe, one step ahead of the police chasing him, to solve the murder and prove his innocence. In the process, he uncovers arcane messages hidden in the world's best-known artworks, solves ancient puzzles, and ultimately discovers secrets about Jesus that could bring down the Catholic Church. As part of the hook, you need to establish the time period or the setting right away. That way the agent or the person picking it up doesn't get lost while reading it. You want to list what type of fiction or genre that you're writing in. A good hook balances character and plot. By the end of the query, the reader should have an idea of why we care about the main character or characters, but also the story problem or tension that keeps us turning pages. Remember, a good hook can't be boring. It has to be something that's sensational. So I hope you found this video helpful. And please leave me any experiences that you've had writing query letters. So what have we learned? The trick to writing a good query letter is writing a good hook. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'm Casey Losner.